Hello, this is Angela Standridge, Director of the Texas Technology Access Program at the Texas Center for Disability Studies, University of Texas, Austin. My contact information is available on the screen. Office number 512-232-0751. Email address astandridge, ASTANDRIDGE @austin.utexas.edu. This session will give an overview of some top tips for making Microsoft Word accessible. You can either open up a blank Microsoft Word document and follow along, or if you follow this link, https://utexas.box.com/v/accessible MSW, it will take you to a link to this document that you can download. I'm going to share several tips that if you use every time you create a Microsoft Word document, it will be accessible to most people using a screen or text reader and also using alternative access tools to navigate through a document if they have a physical disability and don't use a typical mouse and a typical keyboard. They're very simple strategies and easy to learn. The first thing we're going to talk about is how to title a document. This is not the same thing as the file name, and it may or may not be the same thing that you put at the header of a document that titles the sections you're working on. The title of the document should be descriptive of the entire document. I've provided step-by-step directions in this handout, and now I'm going to show you how to do it. You come up here to the ribbon. The ribbon is this section up here that has all the functions you can do in Microsoft Word. And on top of the ribbon, there are little tabs that take you to different places of things you can adjust in the document. We're looking for the File tab on the far left. You click on that, and it brings up some properties of this document. Things like when it was created, by who, last modification, so on and so on. One of the options here is title. It's about midway down through this property section. You want to pick a title that is descriptive of the entire document, and this will allow screen readers to find it. Sometimes the file name of a document is not descriptive of what the document actually is. So I'm just going to call this Microsoft Accessibility. Just a few other things to note that you may or may not use are tags and comments. A tag, and you can have multiple tags within one document, is something that is a feature of this document you want to find later. So for example, this video is part of some projects we're doing at the Texas Center for Disability Studies, and I might add the tag video. So when I'm on my computer later, if I wanted to search for this handout, I can search for video, and it can search out by tags. I might also call it accessibility. I might also call it Office Documents or MS Office. Whatever makes sense to tag this document with. You can also add comments if you want to. This may or may not be helpful for individuals who are using a screen reader, but it may be helpful for you or for them as they're working with a document in a project or something. But what I want you to mainly focus on is every time you create a document, hit File and add a title to this document. When you're done, you just hit the arrow and go back to the document, and now it's titled forever. The next strategy I'm going to share is to use styles for formatting. When you look at the ribbon up here under the Home tab, you should have a section called Styles. Because this ribbon is customizable, it is possible that this has been removed from your ribbon. There is a way to customize that by right-clicking on your ribbon and going to Customize Ribbon and putting Styles back in your ribbon if it has been removed. So if I click on this drop down right here, or you can use this one right here to see some styles, and then if you click this, it takes you to the way the style looks over here as well. So you can click on this drop down, or you can click on this little arrow here, and it will sort of give you a example of what that style would look like. What if you use these functions, these formatting functions, rather than just bold, italicize, and the bullets? If you also use these styles to format your text, it will allow the text readers and screen readers to read it more efficiently, and if someone is using alternative access, it will facilitate their navigation. So for example, I'm able-bodied and I use a mouse to move through my document. Someone who's physically challenged might use the Tab key on their computer, or a single switch that is doing the function of a Tab key. Hitting Tab can move you through headings very quickly, so you're not having to go through line by line by line. Another example of how using styles can be more effective, if I take this sentence right here and I wanted to bold it, if I come over here and bold, visually I've made this darker, but that's all I've done. It's just a visual enhancement. However, if I come under Styles and I use this function called Strong, this not only visually bolds my text, but it also will add emphasis to the text when it is being read by a text reader. So it auditorily enhances the text as well. So tip number 2, use the styles functions when you're going to format rather than the standard format functions. Notice that you can go in and you can create your own styles if you want to and apply styles that have been downloaded. An example of how you might do this, if you had a particular project that required X size font with a certain type of spacing and a certain type of margins, you can go in and create a style that has those parameters. You can certainly Google that, how to set up a Microsoft Word style, and there's plenty of directions online for that. But then when you click that style, then that's what would show up over here, and you could be able to click on any one of these options over here to get that text to take on that formatting. So you just click on it and it does it. Notice when you scroll down, you'll see all of those functions. So emphasis with italicis versus just italicizing it. That gives it auditory emphasis as well. The next strategy I'm going to share is the save as a PDF rather than print to PDF. So PDF stands for Portable Document File. The PDF program most of us are probably familiar with is Adobe, but there are actually quite a few out there. The whole purpose of a PDF is that it can be read across multiple kinds of devices and software. So an Apple computer can read a PDF, and a Microsoft Word computer can read a PDF, and a Chromebook can read a PDF. So it is a portable document file or format. If I have a Word document and I want to turn it into a PDF, the standard way people often do this is they'll go to File and they'll go to Print, and then under Printer Options, PDF is one of those options. If you create your PDF this way, it will strip all of the fancy formatting you did with using styles off of your document, and you will lose the accessibility features that you just built into it. Instead, don't print to PDF. Don't do it that way. Instead, click Save As, or if you have a newer version of Microsoft Word, they've actually put save as a PDF in your choices. So if you click that, that will save it as a PDF. And if you click Save As, got to pick a place to put it. And then when you get to the Save As window, there's this Save As type. And if you notice over here, there's a little drop-down arrow. So I click that drop-down. And there's a variety of different formats I can save it into. I'm looking for PDF. Just to let you know, this little Options button right here defaults to maintaining your document properties and accessibility tags. However, there is a chance maybe that somebody went in and changed your defaults, and if you're finding that when you're making your PDF documents, it is not carrying over your accessibility features, it is likely because this has become unchecked. But the default is to have that checked to move your accessibility features with your document. So I've got Save As, this is my Word document, and I've selected PDF. I click Save, and it takes it just a minute, and then it generates a PDF that has my exact features of accessibility that I had built in my Word document. So to summarize that, use Save As rather than Print To when you create a PDF. Next quick tip. The next part of this handout is the step-by-step directions that I just showed you. The next part is how to do bookmarks and URLs. So typically people will just put a URL in their document and then hit the space key, and then that makes it a hot link, right? This is not good protocol because text readers and speech readers have a really hard time with all of this URL gobbledygook. You know, there's https://. That doesn't tell anybody anything about what they're fixing to open or what that link is. Instead, the best protocol is to make a sentence or a summary of what the URL is. So in this example, this is the link for the Disability Studies website. So I named it Texas Center for Disability Studies. There are two ways to add a link to this. You can either right-click on it, and then you go to hyperlink. And since I already have the hyperlink on it, I'll hit hyperlink. Actually, I'm going to do a couple of things here. I'm going to remove the hyperlink first. So there's no hyperlink now. Then I'm going to highlight it, select hyperlink, and now it wants me to put this URL in there. Select the hyperlink, copy it, select Texas Center for Disability Studies, click on hyperlink, paste it. So now I have my link right here, and if I click it, it takes me to the Texas Center for Disability Studies, and it was descriptive text so that the person who's using a text reader or screen reader knows what that is. The other way that you can put a link on something is you highlight it, you go to the Insert tab, and you click on Hyperlink up here. And it brings up that exact same window. You would paste your hyperlink in and then click OK. Sometimes you need the actual text of the link. The best way to do that is to do the descriptive text with the hyperlink, just like we did before. And then you do a parentheses, type the actual URL out, and close parentheses. So all of that was protocol for doing hyperlinks in a document. The next thing we're going to talk about is graphics and tagging images. So this image right here is the Texas Technology Access Program logo. Even though there are letters in this graphic, they are not actual text. It is a picture of those letters. So a text reader and a screen reader will not read that. It will read graphic is all it's going to say right now. So you want to make sure that you give an alt tag for every image that you have so that a text reader or a screen reader can read it. The way you do that is you right click on it, and you go to Format Picture, and it's going to bring up this little sidebar right here that has the elements of this picture. So there's, the fill and the shape, and this is actual features of the picture itself. But this thing right here is the text functions. And there's a text box. If it was an actual text box, there would be elements there. And there's an alt text function. So you click on alt text, and you can see there's two boxes here, a title for your graphic and a description for your graphic. So I'm just going to call this the TTAP logo. How much description you put in the description box depends on how much information in this image is germane to the document you're working with. So in this example, this logo has the idea of technology because it has computer motherboard grid icon right there. It has the concept of Texas, which is relevant to Texas Technology Access Program. And then there's an orange star in UT orange where Austin would be on the map. So there's actually quite a bit of information and metaphor tied to this picture. So in my description, I might say logo with computer motherboard graphic, Texas, and UT orange star where Austin is. You may not need that much detail every time you tag a graphic. It's going to depend on how much information needs to be communicated to somebody who couldn't see it. So maybe if it's just a UT Longhorn logo, I might say UT logo Longhorn, and that's all they would need. There may be more information you need. In some of the newer versions of Microsoft Word, there's an auto tag feature where it'll go through all your graphics and auto tag it for you. I saw an example once where it auto tagged a girl with an iPad, and the tag was something to the effect of girl with iPad. Now, what was on the tablet was someone signing, and the actual information being shared in the graphic was that this girl was able to use a remote video signing service to be able to communicate with a friend. So that information is much more involved than girl with tablet. So whatever you decide to put in this description box is going to be governed by what you need people to know from this graphic. The last thing to share, and then there's how-tos on here for how to do that, is the accessibility checker. So Microsoft has built into all of their tools an accessibility checker. You may or may not have your accessibility checker available in your ribbon or in your quick hits. So I've put one in my quick hits, and then I also have created an access tab in my ribbon. If you don't see this little icon with accessibility checker anywhere in your ribbon or in your quick hits, the way you add that is you right click on this ribbon up here, or any ribbon, and I'm going to click Customize Quick Access Toolbar, and it's going to bring up all these functions that you can do in Microsoft Word. It defaults to popular commands, but I'm going to change it to all commands. They're in alphabetical order, and I'm looking for accessibility checker. There it is right there. So you highlight it, and then you add it. I already have mine. I'll just remove it for a second. And then you add it back in. You'll see it's going to be in your quick hits, which are these little things up here on the top left. You click OK, and now you have accessibility checker built into your quick hits. If you want to put it in a ribbon, the way you do that, right click on a ribbon, customize the ribbon, exact same thing, go to all commands, And then go to accessibility checker. There it is. You may want to create a new tab to put it under. Depending on your version of Microsoft Word, it may not let you edit existing tabs. So to do that, you just create new tab. You can rename your tab, call it Access or whatever you want to call it. And then you can add your accessibility checker to that tab. To that tab. So however you'd like to do it. I am not going to save that because I don't want two accessibility checkers in my ribbon. But you would then click OK, and it would add that tab and that accessibility checker to your ribbons. So I'm in my document and I want to check accessibility. I just click the little button, accessibility checker, and it's going to generate a report. Now I purposely left one inaccessible element in this document because I wanted the accessibility checker to pull something up. And so what it pulled up was that hyperlink I had at the very top of the document. So the first time you do an accessibility check on a Word document, you may have bunches and bunches of things to check. If you click on it, it will take you to that element that needs to be fixed. Then it also has kind of some information down here on the bottom about how to fix it, where you can find more information if you're not sure why. So what it's telling me that this is a long, confusing hyperlink and I shouldn't have it that way. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to delete at, and I'm going to highlight handout, and I'm going to put the link on that. Then I'm going to take the link off this. So now I have the correct protocol of a Word with the description of what it is, and then the actual URL after that without having the hyperlink on that part. And notice I now have a check in my accessibility checker. Okay, then if I scroll down past the directions that I just gave you for that accessibility checker, at the very, very end of this handout, I have some resources for you. Accessible Educational Materials is the AIM site sponsored by the Center for Applied Special Technology, and it's all kinds of information and training on how to create accessible materials with typical software like Microsoft Word and PowerPoint and EPUB, and additional information as well. Assistive Technology 3 ICT webinars is a link to webinars on information communication technology. It will take you to online trainings on how to create accessible Word documents, PowerPoints, PDFs, and more. These next three links are the accessibility links for Microsoft, Google, and Apple. The W3C initiative is the gold standard for website and materials accessibility. It's where all the rules for this are made, and there is information and training. WebAIM also has information and training. They also have some website checkers too that you can check your website accessibility. And Section 508 of the Americans with Disabilities Act is the section that requires entities to have accessible materials and websites for people with disabilities. And there is training, information, details on the law. You can get some certifications. So these are resources you can explore on your own. Again, if you need to reach me for more information on accessibility for Microsoft Word or any other format that you may have questions about, at the very top of this document, I do have my contact information. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.